The new roster for G2 has played their first official match today, and it was versus the Mongols. Now today I want to highlight how m0nesy absolutely dominated them, as well as how Mobs and Snacks are fitting into the team, and I don't really want to waste any time, so we'll hop right into it right after a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Rain GG. Now you must be over 18 in order to play, but if you do decide to play, Rain has a lot of game modes on the site, and my personal favorite is battles. Now you might have seen me do this on stream before, where I'm just going to do battles against other players or bots, and whoever unboxes the most gets to keep it all. But if you don't like to go for a battle, you can just open up the cases individually. There's a lot of ways to deposit under Rain. You can obviously deposit via crypto, you can deposit with skins, but if you do deposit, you can use code Austin for a 5% bonus when you go in. Whenever you're finished, you can also withdraw via crypto, or you can withdraw via Counter-Strike skins as well. Just make sure you play responsibly, know your limits and whatnot. And with that being said, let's get back into the video. So m0nesy have had a crazy performance, honestly, and it was definitely worth highlighting. I did actually want to talk about how Mobs played, because he also played really well, but the thing is I just made a Mobs demo review the video before this one, and even though it might be worth doing, I think I'm going to give Mobs a little bit of time to settle into the team before I want to go ahead and break down how he's playing in G2. But instead, in this video, we can actually focus on how m0nesy is absolutely farming, and he's kind of always been the guy you need to pop off for G2 to win, and it seems like in this roster no different. Pistol round is just as expected. Now somebody actually asked me the other day, they said, Austin, why do you always skip pistol rounds? I enjoy them very much, and I think that there's a lot of tactical depth in them. I don't, and you know, it's just my personal preference. I think pistol round strats can be fun. I think they can be. They're more fun to play than they are to watch. At the end of the day, they're very random. But Mr. m0nesy is going to start off with a nice 3K, and he's going to go ahead and come into this first round on a full eco. There's a spawn, what was that, spawn 3 or 4, instant mid smoke. You can rewind that if you need. And they're going to be playing against a full eco. Not a lot to see here, so we'll move on to the next one. m0nesy gets 1 here, and we go to the next round. Now, the Mongols have actually been a team that have been very solid. If you've been seeing a couple of their results recently, they've been turning some heads, and they do so again, at least so in my mind today. I think they played very well against G2, but I think the quality of player on G2 is just significantly higher, especially now having Mobs instead of Nexa. I think Snacks is a better fragger than m0nesy anyway, and I did like the way that they were calling from watching the game already. And I didn't watch the game live, but I did already watch the game on my own time, so that way I could collect my thoughts from what I wanted to say. And look at how they're using Mobs. This is another one of those rounds where Mobs is going to be playing aggressive, and you still have Nico playing that spot that he was already playing. I actually did cover Nico playing B one time. You can click the top right link if you are interested in seeing Nico play B, and I think he does a very good job. But look at what we have here. So Mobs is going to get aggressive in A main based off of m0nesy. Now, I do want to take this round to highlight something that I absolutely love about m0nesy, which is that he never stops moving. Never ever stops moving. In this round he starts A, he rotates over, he comes back to B, and later on in the round he might end up back A, or he might come back and clear mid, or he might even push down B. This is something that you see a lot with oppers in general, but especially when they pick up a rifle. Because think about it, what do you have on a normal map? Ancient's a bit of an exception, so let's just say you have one A player, you have one mid player, or 2 mid players, right, including the opper, and then you have 2 B players, right? And then your opper can just double up wherever he wants. Your opper can play A, your opper can play house, your opper can play B. But if he's not opping, he can actually just rifle wherever, because he's technically, and I use this term because it's what all the analysts use and stuff like that. He's cheating, right? You have an extra rifler everywhere. Instead of having an opper, you have an extra rifler. So he has the luxury of playing aggressive, and then he rotates back. Now he can come back here. And you'll see him do this a lot this game, so just keep an eye on that while we keep going. I want to keep this video kind of brief, because there's not a lot to talk about other than it's just, you know, normal G2 stuff. They're farming, and look at this. So again, look, like I said, he keeps pushing, very aggressive. Remember, he starts the round by pushing A main, rotates back, now he's cave. That is an insane position to be in. If they would have known that m0nesy started the round A main, this might be literally the last place they expect him. That's why it's so good from him. It's such a strong reposition. And again, you see this is very common among oppers. They're very good at positioning and making sure that they remain unpredictable the entire time. Of course, off the back of them getting double spotted, you'll see the shift here in the Mongols play. m0nesy, I've never actually tried to pronounce his name, but I'm pretty sure that's right. m0nesy, he notices that 2 cave and 1 was fighting B, and there's only 4 alive. So there's a pretty good chance that there's a timing to catch, therefore he walks through mid. Now he actually has the read here, so this can get out of hand. They know 3B, if he cuts off the house rotate here, then the rest of the boys can still go A, and they're gonna have a pretty favorable fight. Now I don't know if they'll expect Mobs in A main. Most of the time in this situation you would expect your A player to be Donut, or maybe he's like Big Box, so he could catch somebody off guard. G2's kind of planning for that is what I'm getting at, but here we go. Round progresses. Remember, m0nesy moving again. He got spotted, so he can't be in the same spot. m0nesy catches that rotate, but m0nesy is already repositioned to catch m0nesy off. He wouldn't have expected him. Remember, m0nesy did just kill somebody, and you're thinking, but m0nesy just ran. Yeah, but look, Nico just died right here. He probably thinks he heard Nico and then killed him, but he actually heard m0nesy. Just a small detail there. And again, he keeps moving. He never stops moving in this round. He just doesn't stop. Now he's cleared mid, switching over to the AK, and he just keeps going. Now he's going back to B. He doesn't need to stop moving. And Snacks, unfortunately, will go down. m0nesy makes his way back just in time to get the kill with the molly. Oh, my bad. Different round. Catches him running away. Follow up onto the top ramp player. And then, that's pretty much that, right? Look at this round from m0nesy. It's just so good. So strong. And of course, we got m0nesy to back him up. Almost couldn't ask for a better teammate in this situation, I feel like, on the G2 roster, and that's it. Clean as you like. Biggest takeaway, very, very aggressive, never stops moving, always keeping his opponent guessing on where he can be. I love that about m0nesy. And he does this with the op too. But something that's really interesting about this game is it takes him a very, 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 very long time to even get the op up. As a matter of fact, the first round he has the op is round 10 in this game. So we're basically getting a m0nesy rifle masterclass here, and that's kind of insane. Here's your spawn one smoke in case anybody wants to know the instant mid smokes. I need to learn them myself, to be honest, but yes, there's another one. We've gone ahead and skipped a single round. It was just against an eco, and m0nesy farmed. So we'll go on to the next one here. It's going to be a mid start from m0nesy. Now this is more standard. Your opper will be finding himself around here. He's actually going to hear them come out mid. He times his HE to blow the smoke perfectly. And off the back of that, he will spot one of them coming out mid. Almost gets the second, but Hunter takes it before m0nesy can. And there you go. That's mid control shut down for the Mongols there. They get completely shut down. And again, look at this. Like I said, another thing, m0nesy, he's just moving. They did lose a player and they lost another one right there, but he's trying to make up for the lost player, right? Like he's just non-stop on his toes here. You won't catch him hanging around the same spot for too long. Now you might think that makes him a little predictable because, well, you can predict on him not being there. Oh, we just saw m0nesy, chances are he won't be there, so let's just walk at him. And that is somewhat exploitable to a degree, but for the most part, I mean, he's being very smart about it. He wouldn't ever walk away from an obvious angle. And look at how sharp he is. I mean, he's one of the best operators in the world, but I mean, look, if he was a rifler, you would also be just as impressed. I mean, again, he's just dominating with the AK. All right. Another round here. Now this one again is against the kind of low by the bottom B door smoke miss. m0nesy actually just does exactly what m0nesy did, and look, he's going for more aggression, and I like that. And yeah, because of this, what's happened is, think about it from Mongols' perspective. Are you ready? Here's a little bit of the mind games. Why does m0nesy throw himself at mid right there? Well, it's because they know. You ready? Here you go. This is gonna be dank. They know m0nesy is an A player, right? So after he gets that kill, they know, and by they I mean the Mongols, know the A player is missing. He's mid. So where's m0nesy? Well, normally if you're playing Ancient, your A player will only go mid if the opper is here, right? That's like a tactical risk if your opper is here holding A main, because the idea is you're trying to bait somebody into walking into your opper, and that's pretty effective, and they actually will do that later when m0nesy has an op. But m0nesy is trying extra hard to try to bait that because he's actually not there. It's just mind games, right? They're thinking, well, m0nesy would never die because it's too obvious that, he's there, right? So we're just not going to go A, you see? So m0nesy actually triples B. He wants to rotate there. He might have gotten called off. It looked like he went against what he wanted to do. Flashes ramp for Nico. It goes down to s0nesy. Unfortunately, they will lose this round, but it is the mind games that I really like there. Now, I could be overreading into it, but I don't think I am. I really don't. I think this is just one of those things, because look, m0nesy goes right back to playing A, which, by the way, if you don't know this, just a little small detail for the A players and the A anchors that exist out there. What m0nesy is doing here is he's actually doing something where if you stand here and you are waiting very patiently, you can see if somebody is coming out, because their shadow will actually show on this wall right here because of that really fun light that Valve decided to add. So if anybody tries to walk up, m0nesy can see their shadow on this wall before they peek him. He drops the molly and he can get away. Now, there is a counter to this, and I'll tell you it right now. You can actually crouch underneath this wall here without showing your shadow. If you creep up on the wall here, you can crouch underneath and you can peek them. But that, of course, requires you to know that he's up there, and most of the time, you're not going to, so you have to take that risk if you go for it. Sometimes pros will do it, but not very often. So very safe play from m0nesy. And in the meantime, m0nesy is going to help his teammate take mid, and then again, what does he do? He's rotating. Never getting caught in the same place for too long. He wants to make sure that he can help his teammates out, and in this case, he's helping out Nico. Gonna play long, pretending to be Nico, kind of baiting in the idea that there might only be 2 people B, because look at this advanced position that Snax is playing. He's playing in a very committed spot, and because of the way the Ancient works, if you see, a long player, there's one towards like entrance of cave / pillar, you're thinking there's probably only 2. Snax is in a very advanced position, so m0nesy, by throwing this presence in towards the B ramp, actually might mean somebody will walk into cave here. Very unlikely, but it is pretty good. At the very least, they're probably not expecting him here. And off of this, Nico can actually come double up with them, and then m0nesy can rotate again if he wants. He could leave B ramp right now and go cover mid because of Hunter's death. He could. He's not going to, because the double up from Snax and Nico is very strong, and he's here to cover the ramp just in case. I think it's too late for the Mongols. They've realized there was a gap, but they've missed their timing. And of course, m0nesy is sitting in back donut, and he's, playing like a real G. Look at, he's just, jiggling around, getting the info, not overcommitting to anything, gets the info, and he gets a fair fight before he does go down. It buys enough time for Nico and m0nesy to rotate, and look at, again, making noise. This is another one of those, like, mind game things where, m0nesy is fully aware that this is possible, right? Like, every pro that plays the game, or anybody that plays Ancient in general, when they're rotating to A, they know this is possible. So sometimes what will happen is, you'll have more than one person rotate, and one person will make noise running, and the other one will sit here and wait for the guy that thinks he's timing the house player, right? He thinks, oh, I caught a timing, but you're actually baiting him. This is another example of a mind game. m0nesy's running to try to bait this guy to think, wait, I have a timing. But pros think differently than casual players do. This guy's gonna think, wait, I have a timing, but he would only be doing that if somebody was holding for him, so maybe I don't have a timing. Pro CS is kind of dank sometimes, but the round plays out from here. m0nesy unfortunately gets timing before he goes down, which forces G2 onto a save, and I think for the interest of time, we will just skip that, and we have another gun round where, of course, Mr. m0nesy is going to be helping out with mid, going to catch 9-10 going for that op pick. I don't know, I think it was a little overzealous, but unfortunate missed shot from him. m0nesy capitalizes, and so on and so forth. This round he comes through mid. Remember last time he reacted by going B, and he doesn't want to do the same reaction, so this time he actually comes up. He's holding a flash right now, you can't see, but he's holding a flash right now for Snax. If Snax wanted to peek down ramp and Hunter jumped up, they could do a nice little banana peek there. Nico's playing super passive. I love this off angle. He gets a free kill if he can hit the shot. Fortunately, he doesn't, but the idea is still fantastic. B-site gets granted to the Mongols, and of course, m0nesy is hyper aware of the fact that somebody was lurking mid. He knows that he's waiting for him, checking behind him as well, just to make sure everything is going, according to plan, giving them time to do the retake here. And he's just waiting. I mean, there's not a lot to do here if you're m0nesy. You just gotta wait for your teammates to get into position. Finally catches him. I think m0nesy actually activated a little bit too early, in my opinion. Regardless, they're waiting out these smokes. It's very brutal to sit behind smokes in a post plant, and unfortunately there's nothing they can do, so they have to leave. They have to go. Sometimes CS is like that, and they get out, and we go on to the next round. m0nesy actually dies, gets dropped an op here, and this is exactly what I said. Round number 10, first time m0nesy gets the op in his hands, and he's going to be starting A. We were watching mobs. I was really confused. Now, based off of this, now you're ready. I'm going to show you the entire game plan. m0nesy starts A. Now he's actually on top of the big box here. But what they're going to do is they're going to do a heavy mid push / cap push. They're faking like they're taking B. And now remember what I talked about before. A lot of times what will happen is you're going to have your A player, fight mid or double rifle mid because you want to bait the A reaction. It's a very common theory on Ancient. So that's exactly what they're going to do, right? They have m0nesy and Hunter. They're fighting mid. m0nesy has already thrown the flash. If we actually go look at his POV, I already threw it. I paused it, but they're going to be fighting, right? They want to pressure like they're just taking banana. This is very standard. And while they're doing this, I mean, they're not even faking that they're doing this. They just are doing banana aggression. And while they're doing this, they have m0nesy holding that A main angle. And of course, the idea is whenever the reaction comes in, look at m0nesy, he wants to. He's creeping up. He knows that there's a chance that there could be a gap here. He's waiting, but he's not going to give himself up. But they're still trying to force this, right? So m0nesy's going to wait. And eventually the round kind of plays out. We're going to skip forward because they're going to end up retaking mid. And by they, again, I mean the Mongols. And what happens here is m0nebs actually jiggles and he spots them coming. He's going to smoke them off, but they're actually going to run through. And because they're through Donut and m0nebs knows that, because of this spot on Ancient, by the way, being one of the best op spots of all time, m0nesy can actually jump down and he can hold Donut, and then m0nebs can actually hold a main, or he can also, you know, swing Donut depending. So you're going to have m0nesy crossfired with m0nebs. m0nebs doesn't have a great gun for this, but it is still what they're going to do. So let's see it happen again. He's going to jump down and he gets the first shot, but he can actually pivot around this big box here, or also on top of the plat here. And, you know, he can just work, he can work it. And look at that. He's exactly what he's doing. He gets three. He gets three. You know, granted, he did have a teammate, or had an enemy whiff on him a little bit, but still, the idea is still super solid. He's allowed to just move around this entire area. It's like Opera's Paradise in this box. I had to make it like a domino, but yeah, Opera's Paradise, really. Like, they can go wherever they want in here, and it's just so hard to kill them. It's so hard to deal with that. So we've got 2 more rounds here on the CT side, and of course, m0nesy is going to start by throwing it into smoke, starting the op A, again, allowing m0nebs to play an advanced position in A main. And once m0nebs gets set up, m0nesy is going to come up here, play the crossfire, but he doesn't need to be here anymore, knows that they're doing mid aggression, so he needs to get into a good spot. Now remember, last time they smoked off Donut, they ran through it. m0nesy aware of this. Now, Hunter is going to be holding this angle. Now, this is something that is very, very unfortunate. This is just a timing thing. This is just CS at the end of the day. Hunter's going to be holding this for the longest time. Now, Nico's going to clear the ramp for him, and he's going to come back. And I'm assuming somewhere in the comms here, Nico says, I'm going to hold, you know, house for you. Because the second that Nico gets here, Hunter looks away to go fight ramp. And the second that that happens, they're peeking house. I don't know if you could see that, but they're peeking house right now. Just unfortunate timing. Nico's gonna spam. He backs up. Now remember, Nico should be the one watching house here. m0nesy's even come back to spot this gap, but there is still a gap. I mean, somewhere in here, m0nesy either said, I have house. Nico said, I'll take it. I don't know. Something happened in like about less than a second. But unfortunately, Nico, he's gonna get completely blindsided. And because they're already so far, well, there's not really much m0nesy can do either, because he's in probably the worst position he could be in. He has absolutely no cover, and there's 3 people in house. So yeah, just a communication error there, to be honest, and that's going to be the round for Mongols. It's crazy that sometimes CS will just go that way, but it happens. You know, communication is a very, very big part of CS, and you can see when it goes wrong sometimes. And here we have it. We have another round here. m0nesy is just holding. What is that? Wait, hold on. That is interesting. Wait, rewind that. Let me make sure I see this. Is he looking through a pixel? Wait. No way, right? You're actually seeing this for the first time ever. No way. m0nesy is doing a pixel glitch in the middle of the tournament. I don't even think that it's possible. I can't even see through it. Is it one way? I don't understand how is he doing this? Yeah, it's a one-way pixel. I'm moving so fast. I'm trying not to. And wait, hold on. And he can see if somebody This is my honest reaction. That's the first time I've seen this. Wow. Well, all I guess I really have to say is Valve, please fix. And if you're an opper, here you go. New trick for you. I guess if anybody gets boosted on the box or comes up ramp, you can see them. So yeah, that is something that m0nesy is known for, though. Believe it or not, he is known for finding those little cheeky bugs and whatnot that you can use to get an advantage. I mean, it is CS at the end of the day. Pixels, seeing through pixels have never really been. I mean, it happens sometimes. It has happened before, and now it doesn't seem like it's that like criminal. I mean, it's not like blatantly overpowered. Just a small one there. But either way, with all that being said, you know, let's not take that away from the demo review. Still on his toes. He's just in time to get a kill onto the player walking out A. You know, starts around B, ends up watching A cross. It's just standard for operas at the end of the day, but m0nesy does it in a way that makes it so much fun to watch. Now, I went ahead and skipped the first 3 rounds of T side. It was, you know, just pistol, full eco, and then they lost an A rush. So here we have it. They on the back foot with this buy. Just standard banana defaulting here. Molly comes in. He's actually going to flash above his teammate here to fight towards Cat in case they're coming down, and then he actually decides to throw the flash for ramp instead. Of course, this lets Nico clear the ramp. They do have better guns than them. At least the AK is better than like the FAMAS and the m0nesy. So, they're just taking fights, trying to keep this AK active. Nico going for the spam. Of course, they aren't trying to hide the fact that they're on a buy. If Mongols knows that. And they're just kind of floating around here. It seems to me like they're being forced into a B hit. The util is pretty low, and not a lot of ideas here. They're just going to end up losing m0nesy when Blitz peaks mid, and they just take too long here. They didn't get the fights from Mongols. I really love the fact that Mongols actually just played the patience game. This is a round where G2 is kind of like, hey man, we're waiting for you guys to get that info. Come peek us. We don't have util, but just come fight us. And they do get the fights, but they lose them, and then Mongols is just in an advantage. And believe it or not, based off some heroics from Nico, they actually do pull that round back. But and we don't really care. We're here to watch m0nesy. This is his show. He picks up the op. Now, one of the things I love about the way m0nesy ops on T side is he's just, again, very aggressive, but he also can be somebody that holds lines for his team. Now look at him here. He's going to be holding this line. Hits a fantastic shot. Now I know they're playing against a full eco, but they're not expecting to do that actually. Look at the rounds, the way that they've progressed. I don't know if we have any economy experts in chat. What am I saying? I've been streaming too much. Or in the YouTube comment section. If you guys are interested, or maybe you want to learn a little bit about economy, I might make a full in detail economy guide. Let me know if you guys want to see that. But based off the way that this has gone, you would expect the Mongols to be buying here. At least I would. And so therefore, G2 is calling a gun round more than likely. And what they wanted to do was, this is one of my favorite strats, by the way, on Ancient. They want to have, that was not a very straight line. They want to have m0nesy post on long. Okay, one more time. They want to have m0nesy post on long. Well, that was perfect. Wow. And what they're going to do is they're going to have their two riflers creep up underneath him. Now, the reason they're doing that is because whenever they get up here, m0nesy, can hold for them, and they can just double contact. Very commonly, you'll have two people play B on Ancient, or you'll have three, but you'll either have one person long and then two cave, or one person long and then one side, right? Either way, m0nesy is going to be actively holding long for these two guys to trade out at worst onto the guy's site, and then m0nesy can help them take, the rest of site afterwards. They're not committed. They still have their lurker. They still have somebody cave, right? The bomb is way back here. It's just a 3-man push that if it goes well, they win the round. If it doesn't, they still have options, right? Let's say, they go 1 for 1 and maybe it's a 3v4. Well, Mulbs can activate, or maybe Snacks catches a timing on the cave player. They could still be in a really good position to win the round. And this is one of my favorite strats. Like I said, it just is really good. Now, again, they're playing against a full eco, so things go, well, they go really well. In theory, m0nesy gets the kill on the long player. Nico gets the kill. He gets the follow up. The site should just be there, but again, it was an eco, so there's not a lot of excitement here. But the strat did work. It did work, and it's actually really good to call against anti-eco as well. Anyway, we have another round here. m0nesy's got the op. He wants to go for that mid cross pick here. They actually did nade. Unfortunately, m0nesy, he will go down off of that. Miss. It's a difficult shot. Miss a difficult shot, and he will go down. So we'll go on to the next. Actually, believe it or not, G2 somehow lose that one. And that's why this game is close. m0nesy, instant house smoke in case you wanted to know it. Again, he's on the op, holding for this ramp aggression. And off the back of that, remember, like I said, with this deep smoke, what's he going to do? He's the opper. On Ancient, you have to be supportive, because, what pick do you go for on Ancient? Seriously, what pick do you go for? Well, you could go for A. That's really risky. You can go for mid, but we saw how that worked for him last round. And also, it's perma-smoked. You can go for ramp boost. But if they do any sort of aggression, you're just kind of in trouble. And plus, if you have the other opper there, it's kind of weird. Also, ramp gets smoked a lot, and they molly the top area here. They smoke down. They try to run down. You could try to op cave, but if they jump up mid, you just die. Not a lot of op picks to go for, but the op is very important on Ancient in general because you need to hold lines in the late round. So actually, let me just rewind here so I can have a clean map to draw on. What can happen is you can have your opera on the box, just like we talked about before, or in another round, you can have your opera end up here, and he can hold house while you do something very similar, right? You have somebody holding house while they scale up, they fight donut, they can maybe get into house, or maybe late round, you have your opera sit here and hold temple, right? And he can have his riflers go out. They can boost on this little thing, they can go out. Or, how about one more for you? You can have your opera actually get out and post CT, if he has a good timing, and then your riflers can go out. A lot of options with the op, but it's all late round. Or again, if you want one more on B, let me just come up with something. You can have your opera start here maybe in the late round or in the early round even, and hold this while they progress towards cave. A lot of options with the op. But none of it's really early round. So in the early round, what you're going to find is you're going to see your opera in a position where he's holding flashes to support for his teammates. Now this flash is a ramp flash, which if they were to be running down and Nico were hearing them, he would flash, Nico gets the kill. Simple as that, and not a lot else to say. You know, look at Mulbs, by the way. Insane that he keeps getting this space out mid. Now, here we go. m0nesy again, just doing his support role. Every player has to be a support player, by the way. You know, I've been having this discussion with my stream a lot. By the way, come check out a stream sometime. twitch.tv/AustinTS_. I've been having this discussion with my team a lot, or my stream, of what roles people play and if they matter. And to be honest with you, I've always just been under the assumption that at the highest level of play, every player needs to be able to be an entry, a support player, and they need to be able to speak up and call. You know, you can't have you can't just be quiet. Sometimes you got to be assertive and take you know, charge in a round. So everybody needs to be able to have the ability to be a leader, but not an in-game leader necessarily. Now I'm only waffling over this because unfortunately m0nesy is going to go down. Not a lot to say, but it is interesting. For all of my YouTube commenters, what do you think about roles? Do you think roles exist, or do you think that they're just kind of like whatever? You have your IGL, you have your Opper, and then you have riflers. I think all of riflers should be interchangeable, in my honest opinion. You know. Anyway, so we have a full eco from G2. We're gonna skip over. m0nesy is gonna work some magic with the op, but it wasn't enough. It was just a picked up op or a saved op. It wasn't anything crazy. Anyways, we've got another round here, and when I was talking about roles a second ago, I didn't mean that everybody that's a rifler needs to be 100% interchangeable. Obviously, there's still like set roles on a map, like positionally, but everybody at the highest level needs to know how to do everything, is basically what I was getting at. Another round here, we have a somewhat, not really like the same play, but it's very similar play as to before. We have your mid lurk, cave, lurk, and then you have 3 people contacting up the ramp. Again, this idea is just strong in general. They don't have the op. I guess they can't afford it necessarily. I mean, maybe if they wanted to force it out, they could have. But the idea is just pretty straightforward. You know, they're going to come take these fights, create a little chaos, force a few rotates. Maybe we catch a timing out mid. Maybe we catch somebody doing something silly. But yeah, so m0nesy is coming up to take these fights. He's having a little duel there, and look at that. Mulbs does catch that timing, and Snacks even had a fair fight in cave. There was a world where they were actually in an advantage here. Unfortunately, we weren't living in it, and the Mongols 4v3 pretty clean. Now, for those people who don't know that much about CS, you might think, well, why are they just walking up ramp with no util? What is the point? Well, I already explained the point in a previous round, but the idea is that it's still really solid. They're trying to manufacture an advantage. Like, they're trying to trade out positively. Also, they picked a really bad round. The Opera was actually at B this round, so that doesn't make it any easier. But yeah, it looks silly, but you know, it is just basic CS at the end of the day. I mean, this is how you play. Now, I love this call from Snacks. This is by far one of my favorite calls I've seen at the event. It's nothing crazy, but I do like this in theory. Now, any IGL can call this in Silver 1. Any IGL can call this in your random open team. But to call a B rush in a round like this where you force up, it's make or break. If you lose, you save and you're on match point. That's insane. That's a Kerrigan call. It just is. Think about it. Kerrigan is known for making calls like this. Super risky play. Well, the last thing we should do is rush right now. Maybe we should even save. The last thing we should do is force up and rush B. And he calls it. Now, that I love. Is it stupid? Or is this genius? Fine line we walk on, in my opinion. But I love it, and here we go. m0nesy making his way up here. He did smoke the Molotov. He's gonna be kind of floating around here. Knows it's very likely for the Opera to be long right here. Considering he's an Opera himself, he knows what's possible. He's gonna molly it off before it's possible, but unfortunately misses the timing. Mulbs goes down. He spots the Opera. Now he knows he's safe, but he's getting blinded. By the way, I love these counter flashes from Mongols. Look at these lines. One line here, one line here, one line here. That's the Mongols counter flashing from CT. Look at that. You know how hard it is to play against that? It's impossible. All of the T's are facing this way, and this guy's just going bing, 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 and they're just popping up behind. Like, look at the CTs can fight with them, not blinding them, and the T's, they have to fight this way and get blind by them. It's just simple CS, that's how it works, but look at it's just the fact that he's here throwing these flashes the entire execute. They should be winning. But then something really unfortunate happens, and that unfortunate thing is m0nesy finds the first one and a quick conversion onto the second. The Opera goes down, and more importantly than that, he even fakes it, has a chance to get the third. It's almost really clean, but luckily we've got Mr. Nico to hit a crazy shot to close it out. Now, maybe outclassed in that round. The Mongols might have outclassed G2, but the individuals will shine brighter. And that's exactly why I'm highlighting m0nesy in this game. Like I said, I wanted to talk about Mobs. I even wanted to talk about Nico again. I even wanted to talk about Snacks and look at the actual game plan and how he IGL'd this game. I did. But at the end of the day, what I've noticed is it doesn't really matter the roster of G2. It's always going to come down to one single player on this roster, and it's m0nesy. And if m0nesy is not popping off, G2 is not winning. Now, somehow, by some miracle, G2 managed to lose this round, and honestly, they kind of get unlucky. Snax goes for a crazy play in towards cave here. You know what happens next. In the meantime, Hunter's creeping up in towards A main. Oh, that nade didn't kill him. I thought it did. It doesn't. Anyway, it would have been a lot funnier if it did. Anyway, what happens here is we have a really common thing, which is where the Opera is playing on this close angle. Now, it's important to note that if anybody walks, they can see that shadow, which is why Hunter is walking close to not give that shadow. Nerd stuff, but it's true. It's just what pros do, and here we have it. Now, I don't think G2 was expecting an op this round, because if they were, they probably wouldn't walk into this. The money situation's kind of rough for the Mongols. Very likely that they could have an op, but it's also likely that they don't. I mean, he doesn't have any utility, and it's very important to have utility. It's a close game. It could go either way. Now, what happens here is m0nesy is going to actually take first contact off the back of Snax's death. He's trying to just take that gap, because remember, when we talked about earlier, that push and pull. When you take banana, sometimes there's an A gap, because the A player is helping mid, the B player is opping over here towards B. It exists. m0nesy knows that. He knows it's a 4 versus 5. Their best chance to win the round is if they send it. There's 2 people here, bomb's on his way. You know what? Let's go. If the A gap's here, we win. If not, we'll go to the next round, whatever. Unfortunately, the A gap wasn't there. And despite Hunter's best efforts, and I really do mean it, best efforts, he went as fast as he could. Somehow that Opera gets away. And the round goes with it. So we go on to the next round and we've got it. It's a last round, final round of the game potentially, or we go to overtime. I don't want to spoil it, but we're not going to overtime. So we have it here. m0nesy is going to throw the cave smoke for his teammates, and he's also going to come sit outside of mid. They're doing a mid crunch. And for this round, we'll highlight Mr. Mulbs as he's making his way through cave very, very aggressively. And when the timing's right, him and Snax are going to walk through together. Snax goes down, but off the back of that, Mulbs is actually going to catch the perfect timing. And of course, m0nesy also comes out mid at the same time, and they just work perfectly. Mulbs and m0nesy are going to be a very nice duo on this G2 team. I'm very excited to see that. And it's still a 3v3. Like I said, I already spoiled that they win here, but still, look at this. Full banana control taken. Now, what I love about this is that, you know, some people might get caught off. This is a crazy play. Senzu is here so fast. He knew this was the right play. If he just flanks fast enough, there's like no way they expect him. He was so fast. There's literally no chance they would ever okay, m0nesy's looking. Okay, well, that's not good. Now what do we do? Well, I don't know. Maybe the cave player is like, yeah, well, maybe I could catch a timing. I don't see anyone. Yeah, Mulbs is looking. Oh. Wow. And that's just the game, isn't it? That's just the game. You might find Mulbs, but it doesn't really matter, does it? And we'll watch m0nesy here because he's going to get the final kill in the game. So that's going to be this demo review. I'm really enjoying the way the new G2 looks. I'm actually excited to see how they play for the rest of, you know, this tournament. That, you know, we'll just see if they do good. And yeah, overall, I love the way that Mulbs and Snax are meshing into the team, and I love watching m0nesy play. He's one of my favorite players. I'm very happy that we finally get to do a demo review of him. And yeah, very, very good. If you did enjoy this demo review, make sure you guys let me know in the comments below what your favorite part was. And I guess that's all from me. Make sure you guys sub to the channel if you're new. Let me know what demo you want to see from today's game. I actually plan on doing a demo review of myself, and let me know if you guys want to see that too. Okay, I'm out of here. Won't waste your time anymore. Make sure you leave a like, sub, and that's it.